and school discipline.
Thank you for bringing this up, especially because my first job was at Southwest Youth Collaborative. It's a youth center on the southwest side of Chicago, where we actually brought in young people who
Yeah, watch that. I'm trusting it. This is the master volume here. Try that. Okay.
Young people.
There you go.
So my first job at Southwest Youth Collaborative was actually doing anti-violence prevention work. And at this place, what we did was we were part and parcel of the first restorative justice movement. Right? We brought in young people who got kicked out of, or because we had terrible zero-tolerance policies, they got kicked out of school. They would come in to our youth center and then figure out alternative plans for them. That's what I think since then has expanded. That's what SB 100 was about, is saying no to the zero-tolerance policy, saying no to the school-to-prison pipeline, because we know that once you're in that cycle, it's really, really hard to get out of that cycle. That's why I believe not only in restorative justice into the school system, that's why I believe that we need to have more social workers and mental health centers in our school system. And our schools shouldn't just be for that one child, but for the entire family. Because if they actually serve the entire family, then our entire neighborhood will be fueled by this positivity, right? So that's sort of one thing. Second thing it's important to mention is criminal justice reform is, we are so far behind when it comes to criminal justice reform in this country and in this state, right? So I think we should absolutely move forward with criminal justice reform, and there's already proposals for decriminalizing marijuana and other low-level drugs. Yes, absolutely, let's move forward with those. And then use that resources that we get to provide after-school programs and after-school jobs for the young people, because then that's money and resources for our families that hopefully they don't have to work the two jobs, because maybe the child can support the family. And that's how I see us getting out of this mess.
Let me switch microphones with you. I'll try. I can probably manage this. Let's try this here. Okay.
You can sing with you.
I'm the singer, so I have more experience with temperamental microphones here. So see if that one works for you. You're doing fine though. Okay, so the next question here. Many of you recall the state of California recently decided that in order to deal with its financial crisis, it needed to get rid of tax increment financing. Okay, TIF. So do you think that we should follow California's lead, get rid of TIF districts? What is your views on TIF?
I think Illinois has a budget crisis that it also could be defined as a revenue crisis. So TIF is, I'll get to TIF, but I see, can you all?
Is that, yeah, that backfired.
Check.
If you talk right into the mic, it's going to be perfect like that, yeah.
Maybe I have a mic problem.
Yeah.
Not mic medic. Well, I actually have a mic medic problem too.
Zing!
I have a mic problem. So when I think about the crisis that we're in, we can't answer just a conversation about TIF without having sort of the bigger conversation around just revenue in Illinois. We have an extremely regressive tax system. That's a flat income tax model. And we also have extremely loose implementation of those when it comes to corporations, right? 60% of the corporations in our state pay no income tax. That's one problem. The second, the income tax. We have to move towards a progressive income tax model so we can actually fund our schools, our mental health centers, and all the other things that we just basically need to survive, right? So that's the bigger picture, how we would want to go forward with it. With TIF, I don't think that the mayor has made a lot of good decisions lately or in the past 6 years. And so it's really hard for me to trust that the mayor should have all the control of a slush fund, and he or she should decide where all that money goes. And when you have an emergency like the one we're seeing in the state, there shouldn't be a slush fund. All that money should go back into our school system. We should not have any more new TIFs or TIF programs until we actually start funding our schools at adequate level. Right now we're at 90%. Let's get them just to adequate, 100%. Then we can think about the equitable part of it. And that's what I think, that the TIF just needs to be frozen, just like the charter school movement. We need to freeze those. We need to use the surplus money that we have, which is about $200 million, and go put that back into the school system.
Okay. Just want to take a moment to ask you about, we've gotten a lot of these mailers here over the last week. Have you guys all been getting the mailers? A lot of them are, attacking you pretty directly here, so I want to give you an opportunity to address some of those attacks. You have 30 seconds. I'm just kidding. No,
I mean, they have okay selfies that, but look, this is sort of the part and parcel of what I think a machine politician represents. So when I think about, first of all, I apologize for running and being a threat to the machine politicians for you all have to deal with. I think now we're at 15 total mailers. So I apologize for that. And I apologize for how terrible it's gotten and how nasty, and somebody else mentioned racist it's gotten. But I think it sort of represents the lack of leadership, or sort of lack of where we are as a state and as a party to be able to have to go through this, right? That's not the kind of politics that I want to engage with. That's exactly the kind of machine politics that doesn't inspire anybody, that creates the apathy. To the last election, we had less than 6,000 people come out to vote. This is what that is. People they're not inspired by this. I want to be able to talk about issues. I want to be able to talk about how we're going to fix the problems that our state faces. I want to be able to talk about how we're going to fight Rauner's budget cuts and fight Rauner's very extreme agenda. That's what I would rather be unified and talk about. Instead, you're getting lies. Extreme, just lies, straight up lies. And what's shocking to me is that that's okay. That politicians are allowed to do this, get away with this, and there's no real accountability. I am taking legal action because I was shocked to find this. So I am taking legal action, and I have delivered a cease and desist letter to Jamie, and hopefully we'll carry this on, because this is not it. This is not, I don't want voters to be deciding the fate of our state and this district based on complete lies, short-sighted proposals, right? That's what this is. And so, yeah, I get a little worked up. I should probably settle down, but
So you're saying that of all the mailers that we've seen and the negative things said about you, you're saying there's not a shred of truth in any of it? If you can find a shred of truth, I will resign tomorrow. I will stop my campaign. So hopefully that's recorded. If Jamie can prove to me any of this, okay, a single one of these things are true, I'll step back. And that's the sadness that is the Democratic Party right now. That's why we need to change it. All right. Next question here. Please detail your view on Illinois campaign financing. What would you change?
A lot of things. First of all,
no more mailers. No.
Maybe the 30,000 or whatever the judges have to pay, maybe they should make a deal, or actually a better contract that doesn't allow for these to be done. But look, Illinois and the nation is in a mess. When you think about the democracy and the mess that we're in, I grew up in another country, or I was born in India, right? And I was 14 when I came here. My first 14 years, I experienced very intense democracy. 70% of Indian population votes, and it's crazy to see a movement towards more and more participation in other countries. And here, it's less and less. Every year, you're seeing less and less people who are inspired or excited about the political process. And why would they be? Why would they be excited about the political process when this is what they're getting bombarded by, or TV ads, or multimillionaires running campaigns for people without any sort of response, right? So I actually support, there's a city ordinance to provide public financing for city election. I think we should absolutely move forward with that. And I also think that super PACs should not be allowed to spend money without, the way they do, which is anybody can just give you money in a super PAC, and there's no real explanation of where the money comes from. That's scary to me. It's absolutely scary to me. And then I have proposed this, in other places, which is that we should sort of really consider state-level public financing. So take the ordinance that New York has in the city and the state, and really think about how that could be applied on the state level. So we actually can get to talking about ideas and how to fix the state, versus just do this dance around mailers and raise money constantly. Instead, we can talk about ideas and policies.
One question here, again, I'm just passing along the questions here from our fine organizers here, but it asks, what is your opponent's best qualification to be 40th District State Representative. So you have an opportunity to say something nice about your opponent here.
And I have said lots of nice things, and I will say it again. Jamie is the kind of guy you want to have a beer with, right? You want to have a drink with, have a coffee with him, because he will sit there, he'll listen to you, and that's amazing. I really appreciate that about it, and I've done that with him at many meetings. He's the guy who closes all the bars. And that's where I'll stop.
Okay, all right. Question was asked and the question was answered. So, before we get to our last question here, which is more of just sort of your closing statement here, the state gridlock, and you touched on this before, but the state gridlock in Illinois is as bad as it is anywhere in the United States. When those of us in the media, we cover these issues and we see this back and forth between Madigan and Rauner, we're throwing our, just like the rest of us. I mean, we're all citizens of Chicago. We're all in this together. And we want what's best for our state. And it doesn't seem to be getting any better. And it's been this way for a long time. It's just like it seems like these three guys, maybe four guys, Cullerton kind of works his way in there and tries to become the moderator. But it seems like it's this like Rauner versus Madigan. And it seems like two people have all the power in our state. And do you think, what needs to happen so that the voice, people in this room, can get through to our next state representative, to get through to them, so that our voices are heard? Because I think that most people in this room would agree with me, and I'm speaking as not necessarily as a reporter, but it's almost like we can't get through to these guys. All right? What realistically needs to happen so that our voices are heard by the people that are making the decisions up there or down there?
So, as some of you may know, I co-founded an organization called Chicago Votes. And the sole purpose of this organization was to figure out and answer this particular question that you're asking. We're in such a sad place in Illinois with our democracy and the mess that it is, that when I think about any bill, I think about that crisis, the crisis of democracy that the nation and the state is facing right now, and even the city. I was really saddened by that in 2011, we were going to finally have an actual mayoral election after decades of not having one. And we only saw 40% of our people come out. Last election in my district here, less than 6,000 people came out of the 108,000 that live here and 51,000 who are eligible to vote. That's a crisis. So the crisis of these few families controlling every aspect of our state, county, city politics is actually that we have to figure out how to keep them accountable. One way is join organizations that do that. So independent party organization, I think 33rd Ward has one, 35th Ward has one, there are a few other ones. Join those organizations because they do keep politicians accountable. The other thing is, don't just vote, run for office. You know the kind of positive bills I'm able to get passed by Jamie right now? You want to ask him to pass a bill, you come to me, I will put it on my Facebook, and that bill will be numbered. Okay? That's another way. I think everybody here should be running for the local school council. The local school council elections are on Friday, or the applications are due on Friday. Fill one out. There's a school by you. That's the first start. So if more and more of us will do this, they will have to respond to it, and they have been.
Okay, good, thank you. So I did speak with Jamie Andrade on the phone. He called me after session today and said that he did want to be here, but he claims that the organizers of this forum here tonight specifically scheduled it on a day which they knew that he couldn't attend. Now, the organizers here via me deny that. They said that that's not the case, that they have been reaching out to him and that he has not responded either by call or text and through his office. So I just wanted to make sure that that was on public record here. If it goes online, that's fine, but I wanted to pass along that conversation, again, trying to, but I did have that conversation with him. But he did regret that he could not be here today. So, Harish, if you could go ahead and you take the floor here for the last final statement here. Appreciate your time here, and go ahead and maybe take another minute or two to give us some closing thoughts.
Thank you. I really do feel like I got to know you. Thank you everybody for being here. Look, I don't have to tell you the mess that we're in. I mean, everybody knows this. Everybody feels the anxiety. As an immigrant and as a Muslim immigrant, I feel the anxiety. I have never felt this much anxiety about the fate of our state or the nation. And when I came to this country with my mother and my sister at the age of 14, this is a neighborhood that welcomed us. This is the place that, without question, accepted us. I didn't speak any English. I didn't feel abnormal about that. Everybody around me was speaking multiple languages. It felt so good. That part is going somewhere else. Like that welcoming nation, the welcoming state is not here anymore. And you're just seeing this extremeness. And I feel like in the city, in our state, in the 40th district, which has the second most ever zip code in the United States, which is the home of 40 or 50 languages being spoken in this area, like that's the place where I don't want to just tolerate diversity. I want to celebrate that diversity. I want that diversity to be what comes out when people think about this area. And that's been sort of chokehold for a long time. I feel like elections just tell you a little bit about what the possibilities are, right? I only get to share a little bit of the policy possibilities, and Jamie gets to do that. But it's amazing to me that we've gotten into this place. At the same time, I'm also proud that, we're in a Democratic primary where we do get to have two logical, sensible beings to choose from for president. And then you got this crazy other side that's coming. And so we really do have to gear up, and I'm excited to sort of hopefully work with all of you, not just to bring leadership, but equitable, bold, progressive, and independent leadership, not just to our district, but for our state. So thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to any other questions that one-on-one people have. I'll be here all night.
Another round of applause for Harish Patel. Thank you for your time. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Good. Folks, thanks so much. Really enjoyed it here, and thanks for just being courteous. I remember the last aldermanic debate I did, everyone was screaming and shouting, and guess what? We get to do all the screaming and shouting when you go and cast your vote on March 15th. And I think the common theme that we've heard here tonight, get your friends out to vote. Let's not have some 5-10% voter turnout. Come on, let's get everyone out there to the polls. You bet.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank our videotapers here tonight. This whole forum is going to be on YouTube, so you can tell people who couldn't be here tonight that they can see it. And Ben Houston and Mark Pacheca were our official videotapers, and I noticed Vern Peterson was back there doing it on the sly. And finally, I want to thank Dan Ponce for being our moderator tonight. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you for watching WGN.
I watch it every day.
WGN.
In the morning, too.
We promised that we would put the chairs back in their little chair holders. So if any of you want to kind of hang around, you can talk to the candidates, and we can maybe put a few chairs back at the same time. Thank you very much to everyone for coming out on so short notice. Good night.
Keep doing it. We're prepared. Enjoy it. Call anytime.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, good job keeping the clock there.
Pretty respectful.
Okay. Well, just, if I'm in your district, I'm in Monticello.